Growing up, I never listened to music. I'd hear it in stores and from others walking around, but I never consciously put it on for myself. Something about the rhythm and movement of the songs always eluded me. I lived in a small town, and after I graduated, most of my classmates left for college, but not me. I went to work for my dad at his cabinet-making business. It was good money, and I could start working right away. I'd always been the type of person that needed a craft, something I could obsess over and tangibly gauge my progress of. Every workday, I'd have a set number of units I'd need to make, and a dollar figure for what my share was. It was a really nice arrangement. If we didn't have any large contract orders, we'd send out our advertisers and pass out papers door to door. The method was a bit old school, but it brought results. It was a slow month. I was a bit bored, and we were mainly just waiting around until our next big order. One day, after I finished a project at my house, I decided to go help our advertisement team, since I was free. I went to an old part of town that I knew we hadn't hit yet, Douglas Street. After passing out around half of my flyers, I happened upon an older house in the neighborhood. It was run down, the window seals blackened with dirt, large clumps of shingles missing, and a fallen TV satellite dish was on the ground at the side of the building. I looked around, hoping to catch a neighbor to ask if it was still inhabited, but my gaze fell short of anyone's presence. I approached the tattered, grimy door and gave it a few firm taps. After my last knock, the door came ajar. The sudden shift of the door frame startled me, and I moved back a bit. Shortly after the impact of my knock, the door creaked open, revealing the interior of the home. I heard an old-timey song playing, but I couldn't see from where. I yelled out, "Hello? I'm sorry about your door." The music cut off for a moment, but then resumed after a few seconds. I felt as if something was off. I listened closely to the music for a few minutes while I stood at the doorway. The old waltz-style tune rang out. I don't know how, but I could just tell that it was a record player making the music. For the first time in my life, seemingly alone and given space to enjoy what I was hearing, I started moving my head to the song. As the song repeated, I must have came back to reality. If the music was playing, someone must be inside, right? "Everything all right?" I spoke out. I took a step inside of the building. The front room smelled terrible, all kinds of molds coating the baseboards. There was a sofa that had an opened pack of cigarettes and some matches laying on it. I saw a doorway, and I could hear the song ringing out as it scratched against the vinyl record. I slowly moved forward, peering down the hallway, the music now hitting my ears louder. 3 doors intersected at the far end of the house. All over the walls of the hall were pictures, old-style collages and family pictures, all of the same group of people. I wiped off one of the images caked with dust using a spare flyer to get a better look. There was a mother and father, a daughter and a son. I continued down the hall. As I approached, one of the 3 doors was open and had a light on. "Hello?" I spoke out as cautiously as I could while rounding the corner. The room was entirely empty, apart from a small light bulb at the center of the ceiling and a music box on a wooden stand in the middle. The box was connected to a nearby outlet with a long coiled-up wire. I walked into the room, looking around for any possible inhabitants. I pulled the cord from the wall, and the music stopped. I'd grown so accustomed to the sound throughout my exploration of the house that I actually missed the rhythm of the old school record, the jingle still echoing in my thoughts. I couldn't control myself. It was repeating and repeating as I paced back to the doorway. It felt as if the music forced me to do it. I started humming. I turned the knob at the next door, located at the very end of the hallway. The room was dark, so I flicked on the switch. When the light came on, I was staring into myself, peering at the mirror on the wall. I instantly got goosebumps, and my heart jumped. I had scared myself. I laughed for a moment, causing me to skip a few beats in my hum. It was just the bathroom. A cobweb-filled sink and dusty, degraded toilet inhabited the other side. Oh, and a medicine cabinet with some discarded containers. I turned back and opened the last remaining door. Anyone home? My eyes widened and my knees fell weak. I saw the bodies of the family in the picture. The father was off to the side, slumped in a chair, half of his head missing. A shotgun lay at his feet, coated in a dried blood that was flaking and cracking apart. His family were all bound and pushed together in a bed. Parts of them were so far decayed that chunks of flesh had fallen off their bodies, revealing bare skeleton. Some rats ran out of the room, and I screamed and stumbled back against the doorframe. As I crawl on my knees to escape the vicious scene, I reach for my phone to call the police, but I had left it in the car. Still on my knees, I peer into the other doorway. My eyes adjust as I notice the record player's cord is in the outlet again. I make eye contact with the music box, and right on cue, it starts playing. The old-style waltz tune now resuming. Without warning, the door violently swung shut and rings out in a deafening slam as it closes. I got up and sprinted out of the house. Police later linked the killings to the father. It was a murder-suicide as it appeared. I reached out to the extended family, trying to give some closure to the situation. They told me the woman was a music aficionado, transfixed by old 1800s-style works. It's been many years since the incident, enough time for me to properly reflect on my feelings about what happened that day. When the music turned itself back on, something just made me feel like it was the woman. The emotion of the music fitting her bound and helpless state, somehow melodic and warm amongst the chaos. Surrounded in the love of her children, but betrayed by the anger of their father. Sometimes while I build my cabinets, I hum the old waltz song. She wanted me to hear it. She wanted me to always cherish it. And she wanted me to feel an inkling of comfort in a chaotic place.